Hello and welcome to our brand new and very first on the channel Sandbox kind of creative mode series. So in this series we are going to be turning this crazy wetland biome. Let's take a closer look. We're going to be transforming it into a zoo or kind of like wilderness park sort of thing. So this is all that we are starting with. So obviously we have a lot of foliage going on in here. We have this kind of dirt road that's leading up all the way to what will be our entrance. Wait, let me just get the camera a little bit more settled here. There we go. So we've got this big road leading up to what will be our entrance gate so that we can start charging people to kind of enter this wetland preserved area. And yeah, essentially kind of the idea behind this place is going to be, we're only going to be using about a quarter of the map. So essentially kind of this quarter of the map is going to be used for our guests so they can come in and, you know, pay a little bit of money and see some of our friendlier animals and some of our animals that are, you know, in captivity for, you know, breeding and restoration and whatever else. And then the rest of this land is all going to be untouched and saved for preservation and all of that fun stuff, unless of course we decide to go crazy with this series. But the plan for now is we are going to use all 7 of the animals from the new pack and pack them into this little corner here, make a really cool little nature park / zoo for them. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think it'll be really fun. I've got some really cool architecture pieces that we're going to be building in this area, playing a lot with the stilts and that sort of thing in the wetland area. I'm really excited about that, and for the most part I think we're going to try to keep things fairly natural with, like, obviously the guest walkways and the buildings for the guests and all of that fun stuff in this little area here. So I think it'll be really good. I think this will be a fun little challenge. I set up this entire map. Obviously it took quite a while, and I will put this map up on the workshop. There will be a link for it in the description below if you also want to use it as a base map for a wetland zoo. But yeah, I don't know what it was about this DLC. I haven't really been super inspired by a DLC in a while, like to actually want to make a whole, you know, zoo or a whole project out of it. So but this one, I think it's just so cool. It's so different from what we've been doing in Mount Borealis Zoo, and different from what we did way different from what we did in the Africa Zoo as well. So I think this will be great. Or the Desert Zoo, I guess it wasn't specifically an Africa Zoo, but you know what I mean. So I think this will be super fun. The way this series is going to go, we're mostly going to be doing speed builds, I think. This episode, obviously, we have a bit of an intro just to kind of give you an overview of what's going on. But for the most part, I think these episodes are going to be mostly speed building. So if you like that kind of thing, stick around, and at the end we'll have a whole bunch of cool shots, and we'll do walkthroughs and all of that fun stuff. So why don't we get right into it? Today we are going to be putting together our entrance area and our first habitat. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So in today's episode, we are going to be building a fairly, I guess it's a modern style, but fairly simple entrance building. It does still take up the whole video and all of that. It took a little bit of time to build it, but the shapes and the just kind of the overall layout and the pieces that we're using and stuff, very much on the, like, definitely one of the simpler builds. I tend to gravitate a little bit more towards very complicated builds in this game. And I thought maybe to start off with, we just do something with, you know, a bit more straightforward shapes, just kind of, you know, square shapes and, you know, in-game pieces and all of that, like the wall pieces and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And I think it's a very doable build too, if you are interested in kind of, you know, following along, learning how to build something like this. But it is also going to be on the workshop, so all the builds in this series all the way up until we finish the zoo, then I'll probably put the final zoo on there as well. But yeah, all the builds are going to be going up on the workshop, so If I do forget any and you're looking for them, just let me know, but I'm going to try my best to remember to put them all up there as we go along. I don't remember if I mentioned in the intro or not, but the base of this game is also on the workshop, so it's a little tricky to open. I don't know exactly what kind of computer you're going to have. I have a very good computer, and it takes a very long time to load in the map, but I haven't noticed any lag and like while playing on it, at least not yet. So yeah, just the fair warning there, if you do want to start with this base map, I think since there's so much water, it's very laggy. It's very slow to open, so just kind of watch out for that. But yeah, this building in general, fairly straightforward. It's gonna have a gift shop and a little staff area, essentially, are going to be the two main features there. And then, of course, all the entrance gates and all of that. Over here, I decided to put in a couple of ticket booths in the form of just information. They're just going to be information stands. And it's actually really cool because people use them. I wasn't really sure about it because they're outside of the entrance. And I've never really, since I haven't played in Sandbox mode really at all, I didn't know exactly how the guests were going to go and, you know, navigate through here and all of that, but they're actually going to those ticket booths that are outside of the entrance gates, I guess, before they're entering the zoo. So that's kind of cool. I didn't really know that you could do that. So that's been fun. But the gift shop I decided to put in as you can only like enter this way. Or sorry, you cannot enter or exit from this side. You can only go in from the other side and out from the other side. So I know it was kind of, I mean, in realistic zoos, a lot of the time you can exit through the gift shop, but I think if you do it in this game, they'll end up just like walking through that way to get into your zoo without like paying, even though it doesn't really matter if they pay on Sandbox. I wanted this to kind of be maybe playable on like normal franchise mode. I don't know, I'm still kind of deciding how much I want to worry about making sure that everything is perfect for like franchise, or if it's just a Sandbox zoo. I don't know yet. I'm so used to playing with franchise mode. I'm kind of like, oh, all our habitats have to be perfect and our animals have to be happy and our guests have to be happy and everything. So it might take me a little while to get out of that mode, but either way, that's all right. And yeah, you could see there for a little while I was playing with, I was actually wondering if we had an info stand. So I was thinking maybe it'd be cool to do like, make it look more like a proper ticket booth, but they didn't have the information counters. They only have counters for like some food and drink shops. So I figured we'd just put in the base game ones and that would be good enough. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So the last little bit on this building here, at least for the exterior, I just wanted one more little something else to break up this wall, just to make it a slightly different material of some sort. So I thought maybe it'd be cool to put like some glass pieces in there and, you know, make it look like we're letting light into the building and all of that, even though you can't really see through the glass too well. But yeah, I kept getting kind of like, oh, I was like, well, I don't know what to do. Ended up making it simple, much more simple than I was expecting. Just making this 1 meter gap in here and then throwing in some 1 meter windows in there as well. And then that's basically just going to be repeated kind of all the way along the building here. The paths here, I did struggle with a little bit. I didn't think I would struggle this much with them, but it's because I offset this part of the building just a little bit for like, you know, effect and make it look a little bit more realistic. And then, yeah, of course, as soon as you offset something like a half meter, or like, I guess I think it's offset by 1 meter or 2 meters. You can't have paths that small. They have to be at minimum 4 meters wide. So it just kind of messed this up a little bit for me, but that's okay. We get there in the end anyway. And yeah, I don't know if I talked too much about the parking lots before. There's a bus over there. That's where all the guests are going to come from for now. I don't know. I don't think we really need too much else in that parking lot, to be honest. It's kind of, there are a lot of people who enter this zoo right away, I think because it's free to come in right now. I am thinking maybe I'll up the cost per se of what people have to pay to enter, just for the sake of having less guests in the zoo. I don't know. We will eventually, I think after I build the gift shop and stuff, it switches to like still paused, but after I've let some people in. And yeah, it's a busy place. Everyone's really interested in this, new wetlands park restoration situation. So that's all good. But yeah, so over on this side here, this is kind of our little staff building. We've got some of our essentials, not all of them. Some of the others that, are more animal focused are going to go with the first habitat. But, we've got the staff room, I think like the research centers, the workshop and the vet research. We've got the trade center over here as well at the beginning. So just kind of everything that you need to start off a zoo and get those animals in there. And yeah, so this one here, I was trying to figure out what to do with the pathing. I ended up figuring it out overall. We're just going to do like a boardwalk slightly above ground level through this entire place. That way we don't have to mess too much with the water and all of that. So, but I don't really think I show too much of that. The last really big part of this video actually is the interior of this gift shop. The interior here took me quite a long time to build, I will say that. If you've watched any of my other series and stuff, I don't focus very much on building interiors. I have never really in this game. It's something that I've kind of always wanted to do, but then by the time you finish the exterior, at least by the time I finish the exterior of a building, I'm almost like exhausted and ready to be done. And I don't want to do the interior anymore. So this was the first kind of for me, was building like the proper interior to this gift shop, and I think it turns out really well. I really enjoy how it turns out in here. So of course, adding in some pathways inside the building makes it connect to the outside. How nice would it be if we could like pick what paths connect and what don't? But it is what it is. I had to move that path over a little bit. And then I started experimenting with what could we sell in this gift shop, because one of the things that I think Planet Zoo has kind of, I don't know, I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal because we just have to get creative with it, but they really don't have anything for like gift shops and stuff. And I'm so surprised they never wanted to decided to put any pieces in essentially for like gifts that the guests can buy. I find it really kind of strange, but even all of the statues and like things that maybe you could use as like stuffed animals and stuff, they're all way too big. Like they're excessively large. So yeah, I kind of played around a little bit, wanted to figure out how I could build shelving, and then finding stuff to actually put on the shelves was a lot, but we do eventually get there in the end, and I really like how it looks. In the end, I kind of tried to keep it like fairly wetland themed, but also like there just isn't a lot of wetland stuff, obviously, so not all of the souvenirs are necessarily like wetland focused souvenirs. Some of them are, other animals and other things and stuff. So yeah, but in the end, I think it turns out quite well. So this is kind of the starting of the display case. I played around with a few ideas here. This first idea was to make it like a multi-tiered sort of situation where you would have maybe some items sitting, on the first level, like stuffed animals and random things, and then have, some other items sitting on the second level so you could see it, and it's all viewable from outside and from inside and all of that. So that was kind of the idea here. But in the end, we do change it up quite a bit later on, same sort of style that we're going for, but I ended up finding a lot more things that could be gift shop items that would hang on the walls and stuff instead of necessarily like sitting on shelves like this, or needed shallower shelves for them to really make sense. So we do end up changing this up quite a bit, but either way, I think it looks quite well. I was like playing around with these eggs. I was like, oh, could we sell these eggs? What are they? I don't know what I was going for, but we found a hat. The hat is like realistic sized, at least. Even these cloths, you can't recolor them or anything, and they're quite large piles, so I don't know. But yeah, this is where I was taking a look at like the red pandas, because some of the inspiration photos that I was looking at and stuff, people used like these red panda statues as stuffed animals, but they must have really oversized their whole exhibit, because that is a very large stuffed animal relative to like the people in this game. Yeah, that would have been way too big, and it was way too big for our shelving too. So I don't end up using that one, but instead kind of focus on little pieces here that we can say are like posters and little, trinkets and wall decorations and all of that kind of stuff. But I will say that it was a fun challenge to try to make this all work with with all of these kind of more random pieces and everything else. So yeah, in the end, it works out really well. But yeah, I think in this video, I'm going to be just kind of playing around with it for a while. You'll see me build it, etc., etc. So I figured I'd take this opportunity to chat about the next thing that's coming on the channel. So I know this is the first brand new thing, and we just started. So why are we talking about another brand new thing? But Prehistoric Kingdom just got released recently. So into early access, but like public early access. So I picked that game up and I am super excited because I've been looking forward to that one for a while. I'm not a huge dinosaur person. I will say that. Like, I don't know much about them. I haven't really played the other dinosaur games. I wasn't really like a dinosaur fanatic as a kid or anything like that. But I do think that it's going to be super fun to have kind of this a new game similar to this and get to explore that aspect of things a little bit too and learn a little bit more about, dinosaurs and prehistoric animals. And I'm really excited about the things that I have seen about that game so far, like the controls and the building possibilities, and all of that. So I am starting a series on that really soon. I'm going to be filming, I think, the first part today, so it might come out next week-ish, sometime hopefully fairly soon. I don't want to wait too long, but obviously, if you do follow my channel, I have, a hard time keeping this super consistent because I do this so part-time across from, other jobs and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to get it out as soon as possible, but yeah, look out for that because I'll also mention it probably in a few videos, so don't get too annoyed with me. But the only problem is whenever I start a new game on this channel, the views are I get no views on them. I don't think YouTube pushes the videos that or the videos of other games. When, Planet Zoo is obviously my most popular series on the channel, nobody ends up seeing my other series. So if you're interested in Prehistoric Kingdom and honestly, if you like this game, it's going to be very similar. And I'm really excited to, play around with the building and all of that in that game. So definitely look out for that one as well. But back to what we're doing here. As you can see, I suppose, kind of finally finished our first few set of shelves. As soon as I got the hang of it, it went fairly quickly. I just needed to get the hang of what I was doing and get a few done. So we used the those bottles. I used all the Wetlands stickers to maybe they actually look kind of good, like those stickers. They're an interesting art style, so I figured maybe they even kind of look like stuffed animals or something on the shelf there, if you don't look too closely. And the decorative plates, I end up recoloring those to make them look a little bit more random and not all of the same. And those cute posters, I think those are, I actually don't remember what theme those posters are even from. Maybe they're Africa theme? I don't know, but they're like a snake and a crocodile, which totally fits into the into the wetlands, so I figured that was totally fine. And then I thought I'd do some hats just because it's the only clothing item that we have that we can put on display, so there's a little hat display on the side there as well. And I did use those fabric rolls and piles too, kind of trying. I thought maybe they would sort of look like rolled up or folded up posters, that's why they're right underneath the posters. I mean, do they? Not really. But we're all doing our best here in the end anyway. And then one more display case. I thought, were there any small pots? There were any small pots. And then I remembered we got candles with the European pack, so that I figured would make the best last little stand. Over here is just candles, and they can obviously be fully recolored and all of that, so yeah, that worked out quite well. And they're nice and small, and you can kind of crowd them in there, and they fit on the shelves and and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, that was pretty much the end of that, just kind of getting everything over on the opposite side as well here. A little candle stand. I figure, I guess it's the same products. They're just on display on the outside for for whatever purpose, so people can see and be excited about the gift shop when they first walk into the zoo. Normally, I think you can kind of see into the gift shop from the outside. That's what sort of gets you, even though the guests can't really reach those, or the customers wouldn't really be able to reach those items on the far side. They're just there for advertising, I suppose, more than anything. But yeah, this is getting to be really just the last little bit here. So you'll see here there is a transition, and you might even start to see little glimpses into the background of our next build. I did this a little bit out of order. I went on to the next build and then realized that I wasn't quite satisfied exactly yet with how this one was. I wanted to add a little bit more detail on here, so I came back and did this, and yada yada. So the next build is actually already done, so it won't be, I know sometimes I take a little bit of I'm bad for leaving too big of gaps, I think, between my videos sometimes, but these two should be fairly close together. I just need to record the voiceover and all of that for the next video, so it should definitely come out at least a week after this one, if not, maybe I'll even push it out a little bit sooner. But yeah, that is, yeah, that one is really cool. This one is a nice, simple, straightforward, build. That one is most certainly not. That one is quite a bit longer, it's a lot more complicated, and yeah, it's just, there's a lot going on there. So yeah, that was the build of our entrance building and gift shop, and all of that. This is kind of what it looks like in place. I just threw a few little cinematics here into the end. Rather than a walkthrough, I figured this kind of gives you a good enough view of it since it's so small. Once we finish a few areas, I'll probably do a full walkthrough of what we've done so far, but I will talk to you in the next episode.